Mm. Oh, right. There we go.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So you
I know that voice.
you can hear me okay?
I can, Denise. How are you?
Good. I was trying to do Google Hangout with my nephew off my phone yesterday, and it wasn't working out for us, but the laptop works out better. So
yeah, I'm glad I finally got the system. I finally got it.
I know. Feels like an accomplishment. I know. When it didn't work yesterday, I was like, no.
Exactly.
Very good.
Yeah.
No Mindy yet?
No, not yet.
Let's see what it works.
Okay, I'm going to finish setting up
Sure.
the thingy here. Fourth. And the Hangout is here. Paste. Link. There we go. And then, oh, right. Come over here. Go to YouTube. That's my live event. My God, Denise, I am so glad that we slowed down the process.
Oh my God, I know.
You too?
Good morning. I know, my goodness.
It feels so much better to actually do the reading now, to like not have that stress hanging over me.
Yeah.
It's actually enjoyable, you know?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I had lost that sense of enjoyment, and that felt really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. This way is much better. No pressure.
Yeah.
For sure. Go down here. Oh, go down here. Go down here. Go down here. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Great. Publish changes. Yes, done. Got it. Aha. All right. So who's on with us? Oh, there's Miss Mindy. Her voice is not showing. She's not in yet. She's in
Maybe
there.
she logged in and went and got a coffee or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, Medium said that she's not going to come. And Frida should be here. Yvonne wrote and said she's not going to come.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, that's
Mhm.
right. That's right.
She had something to do with her mom. She said she might get in later. I'm not sure, though. Cool. How have you been, Denise?
Good, good. Yeah.
Ready for spring?
Oh, yeah. It's coming up quick. What is
Yeah.
March, middle of March?
Yeah, March 21st, 22nd, 20th, whatever day it's going to be this year. But yeah.
How much
You have a
longer
birthday.
are you in the Normandy area?
I'm leaving Normandy on the 14th.
Okay. Back to Paris?
I'll go to Paris for 1 week, and then I'm going to Croatia.
Oh, Dubrovnik or a different area?
I'm going to Zagreb. Have you been to Dubrovnik?
I have. It was beautiful.
I bet it was.
But I hadn't been since 1995, and I just passed through in 95, and it was scary because it was war back then.
Yeah, that was a different time. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I was at a yoga retreat with Kava Yoga in the Italian countryside, and we did a couple of us did a ferry from Bari to Dubrovnik.
Okay.
Fun. Oh, for the weekend. We loved it.
That is so very cool.
So beautiful.
I have never considered going to Croatia, ever.
I didn't either. I never did.
Mhm.
Yeah. But it was amazing.
I haven't wanted to leave Europe,
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, well, let me go to Eastern Europe because I've never been. And then when I started looking, I'm like, what have I been thinking? Why have I not gone to Eastern Europe?
I know.
That's so cool that you've been there. I don't know. You're the second person that I've known who's been there.
I would have never thought of it, but one of the girls on the retreat had rented a hotel, and she was going to just go on her own. And she said, I got the room already. You guys pay for your ferry. So we upgraded and got the nicer one that has the beds, and it was fine. Yeah, it was nice. Really beautiful.
Yeah, I bet it is. I bet because you're in that part of the country is really nice. I'm going to be in Zagreb, which is inland.
Okay.
It's the capital of it's the capital, and it's inland, so it is it's not the coast, but it's got the forest, it's got the mountains, and it's got the architecture,
Okay.
So I'm feeling very, very excited about
Morning.
About the opportunity.
Nice.
Hi, Mindy. She's got her coffee. She looks happy.
You're at your Starbucks, Mindy? Oh, she's on mute.
I got I was on mute. Yeah, I got my Starbucks. It tastes good, and now I'm feeling happy and grumpy. I was a little grumpy at first.
Yeah. Right on, girl. Get your coffee.
Yeah, got to control this grumpiness right now.
Yes. Well, I'm feeling like because I feel like we haven't bitten off more than we can chew this week. It feels very exciting to be on the call again. It's like, phew, I don't have to try to cram things in. We can relax.
I know. That was a little bit. Yeah.
It was an intense pace. It was too intense for me anyways. I know some of you all were flying through it, but I'm just happy to be able to come into the call and feel light and to know that we're going to get through everything. It feels just nice.
Yeah. Not have to rush.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to just maybe hold on for another minute. I do like to start on time. And I think that we can go ahead and start checking in with one another and doing that. We'll just maybe give people 1 more minute to sign on. If y'all think that's okay.
Sounds good. Is that okay
Yowza.
with Mindy?
Anything is okay with Mindy because she got her coffee. Mindy got her coffee. She good?
Yeah.
Don't worry, she's good.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, I'm good. I don't, oh, wait, we don't really, yeah, I don't, I stress out about probably unnecessary things. I don't really stress out about like stuff like being like that, you know, like, I guess I gave up like my whole time limit thing when I got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
It left with the divorce.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, because Dwayne
Yeah.
was always like, gotta be here, gotta do this, gotta do that, this time, that time, that time. And when I broke away from that, I was like, bye, bye, bye. And I even threw away my watches. I don't, you know.
Yes.
I have to have a watch. I can't have the kids at recess all day. I gotta pay attention.
Yeah.
Which,
I
by
know,
the
and
way,
I like to protect my time a little bit because for the work that I do, I have to make sure that I'm not giving it all away. You know,
Oh yeah.
It's like, you know, especially just because, you know, I can have people also that are back to back, and I can have, you know, one 90-minute session and then another 90-minute session 20 minutes later. Yeah, I got to really, I'm learning how to protect my time. I used to just give it all away and a little bit kind of like carefree with it. But then I'm like, no, you got to set boundaries, girl. You got to set boundaries, which is why I'm glad that, you know, I get to honor my time, but I also get to make sure that we're getting enough during our sessions. You know, it's like we all are contributing people. Everyone who's here has something very valuable to give. And so it's so nice to be able to relax and say, yes, give. You know, we can all share without having to feel like we're restrained. And I get to get off and you know, do my evenings, my Saturday evenings, and you all can go do your Saturday days, you know?
Yeah. That is true, because it could go on forever. I've done that before, just done something and all of a sudden.
Oh my God, yes.
You know.
Oh my gosh. You know, our first call was almost 3 hours.
It didn't feel like it either. Yeah,
it didn't feel like it. No, it was great, but that was a long time for us, and that was a long time for me as the, you know, as the leader for that. It was too much, and I could see where that kind of thing would make me grow weary and resentful over time, you know?
Yeah.
So it feels really good to have boundaries. I'm learning about boundaries. As I'm working with narcissism, I'm learning about how to establish boundaries. Woo, big deal. You got to establish boundaries with narcissists. Narcissists will want to take everything. Give me more, give me more. I'm just going to sit here and let you give me more. Very different. Frida, I see Frida. Hi. I see Andrea. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We've got Mindy, Frida, Denise, Andrea. I say we get started and start doing our check-ins. Who would like to check in first? I would love for us to check in today with, I think it's a good idea to, you don't have to give your name. I'm sure everybody knows everyone, and because it's labeled, it feels okay. But I would love for everyone to tell us, just check in with us, let us know how you're doing, and maybe if you feel like it, tell us what lesson struck you the most this week, or how you're doing with the lessons, or just talk something about the lessons. All right? So whoever wants to jump on first, please go ahead, unmute yourself, and just hop on.
All right, I'll just start first.
Hi, Frida.
Sorry about that. Okay, I am on today I will be on lesson today I'll be on lesson 29. And this week I did lessons, several lessons, and the one that struck me the most, that was my most, I guess, healing lesson of the week for myself. And my journey is lesson 26. And I think I even posted. The idea for today introduces the thought that you always attack yourself first. If attack thoughts must entail the belief that you are vulnerable, their attack is to weaken you in your own eyes. Thus, they have attacked your perception of yourself, and because you believe in them, you can no longer believe in yourself. A false image of yourself has come to take the place of what you are. So for me, I had several instances this past week where I had to be true to myself, and because of that, stand criticism and extreme hostility, I guess. I don't know why I laugh every time stuff happens like this. I don't think it's funny at the time, but I don't know, I just have that nervous habit. So I just found that I really had to stand up for myself and do what I felt was true to myself. And I had written something and put it on my fridge that same day that this happened. It was something about, I can't remember the specific words, but it was something about letting grievances go and being true to your heart. And so for me this week was a really, really, I mean, I'm exhausted right now. I don't know if you can tell. I literally rolled out of bed, but it's been a good week. And I would say the lessons are really, really helping see in a different way. And I think that sometimes when you start seeing in a different way, you end up clashing with other people, but then the clashing is something that they kind of do on their own, because then you just let it go. You kind of let it just go through you. So that's what happened this week. That's it.
Yep. Very good. Very good. Yeah, gosh, it's funny. I read your post and I thought that I made a comment on your post, but I mean, I know I made a comment on your post, but then when I looked back, just now I looked at it to follow up and there was no comment. My comment wasn't there. And so I guess I didn't actually save it or something. I don't know, but that was such good insight that you wrote. And I think you're right, Frida, when you make changes. Look, so because it's a law of attraction universe, this is my opinion, because it's a law of attraction universe, when you change, you're changing your vibration, you're shifting the world around you. It's like, in a sense, it's like you're breaking through. I think about it as being a glass ceiling that you've just broken through. And the glass ceiling was the old structure. And now you've just broken through the old structure with a new set of ideas. I feel like that it's the breaking of that structure that has backlash along with it. Friends will lash out, family, the boss, co-workers, just things, But I don't feel that it's really an attack against you as much as it is our own attack thoughts manifesting and attacking us, just as you said, Frida, in what you wrote on that post. It's like, these are my own attack thoughts that are coming back in form, in physical human form. Thoughts have energy, and those people are embodying what is happening inside myself. That's what I see as happening. I don't know if that makes sense. It makes perfectly good sense up in my head.
I think what it is letting kind of people's idea of who I am, their perception of me be what my perception is. So therefore, if it's an attack, I'm allowing it to be an attack because I own it. I own it. So yeah.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Did Frida just say, was it lesson 21 or was it a different one?
It was lesson
26.
My attack
Something-
thoughts are
okay.
attacking my invulnerability. Yeah, that one.
Okay, because mine's a little similar. Mine's lesson 21. I am determined to see things differently, but kind of the same situation, I think, too. Kind of just seeing things differently from a better perspective for me. A little situation. I'm teaching kindergarten right now, and the principal had asked me to come in, and she said, I heard that you're yelling at the boys. And I was like, I haven't yelled at anybody in like 10 years. Like, I never, ever yell. You know, maybe a little boy who had to sit out for 5 minutes for, there's 2 little boys that can't keep their hands to themselves. So they're kind of pinching and they lose a little 5 minutes at recess. And that is it. But if they're going home and telling their mom, oh, she's yelling, and so before, if I was ever criticized, it would make me sick to my stomach. I remember a lady saying that I wasn't teaching math well, and she was just a colleague, and I remember I felt sick to my stomach. I never wanted to be, I felt like everyone thought that. I just kind of attacked myself, and come to find out nobody had ever said it, but that one woman who it turned out to be a little bit crazy. And so this time around, I was like, well, I know I didn't yell, I will observe myself now. But I didn't let it get to me at all. I didn't. So I was like, okay, I'm going to see it different. I'm not going to, make myself sick over it and think, who said that? Who said that? Why'd they say that? I'm just going to, observe myself a little bit better, which I still have not done it, but, but yeah, I did not. But I looked at this and I said, I'm determined to see things differently. I'm not going to make myself sick over it.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because I did before. I made myself sick to the point of, getting so upset that I remember my stomach hurting. Just, oh my God, what did I do? What are they thinking? Maybe I shouldn't be there anymore. And this time I was like, nope, ain't going to do it this time.
I love this. I love this, Denise, because it feels like that's the real, I don't know, like that is, okay. So having a connection with yourself is the most important thing. I don't care whether you're right or wrong. Having the important connection to yourself is the thing that ultimately matters. If I think you're wrong, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how wrong I think you are. And understanding like that you have your own authority, your own autonomy. I just think that's the most powerful thing of all. I think that from there you get to go wherever you want to in the world. Yeah.
So I was very polite and said I will make sure to not raise my voice. And
excellent.
Yeah, I didn't argue about it, but then I was like, yep. So
cool.
But no, it didn't happen. But yeah, I didn't kill myself over it. So
thank you for the good share. Who wants to go next? How about Andrea? Andrea just unmuted herself. Come on, girl.
Muted. Good morning.
Look at you. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, I think it was free to have got no sleep. I'm rolled out of bed. I don't know what is happening this week, but I'm here.
You look great for just somebody who just rolled out of bed. My God, she rolls out of bed looking like that.
Well, I brushed my hair and put it in a braid, so I look presentable. But
okay.
But mine, and as I was like listening to everybody, I was thinking, I'm like, this week was very unpracticed for me. Like, I'm very usually disciplined, and if I do something in the morning, I'm to do this. And even the day that I was supposed to post, I didn't read my lesson till later in the day. And it ended up being the one damn lesson that was every half hour. And I'm like, I can't, I'm like, really? But, and I just really haven't been my normal self this week. But as I was listening, I think the one that I posted on actually is the one I didn't even get to the next day, which apparently is I determined to see differently. But I think I kind of still used I'm determined to see for the past 2 days. And for me, it was to see differently, even though that wasn't the exact title of the lesson. For me, it was I'm determined to see differently. And the same kind of thing, like things that like normally would bother me. Like I was in yoga, and I know yoga is bad yoga, they say, but this was the worst substitute teacher that I'd ever taken. And the whole class was like, I'm determined to see differently, and I'm determined, So that was my one for the week.
I love it, man. Yoga will get me every time because I already walk in there. I don't care who the instructor is. I walk into yoga with a chip on my shoulder. I have a wall in my heart. It is like I walk in there like a don't talk to me. I don't want to be here. So yes, that would be an excellent opportunity. With this, I can imagine having a substitute yoga teacher. Finally, I get a rhythm with somebody that I like, and then you give me a substitute that is not on par. I would have a meltdown. I would have a physical meltdown. I'd get nauseous.
It took everything for me not to walk out of the class.
Yeah, wow, and you didn't. That's good. You were determined to see differently.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for the beautiful example. All right, Miss Mindy, how about you? Would you like to come on next and share?
Hi.
Hi.
I just, I have, well, a couple of inputs too, like listening to Denise. I used to get overly sensitive too about what others thought about, me as well, like, and their judgments. And so I, that kind of started happening at work a little bit. And no matter where I went, I don't understand like how it started happening, but like, just I used to feel like, oh God, they loved me at first, and then all of a sudden they started picking. I'm like, oh, okay, well that bothers me. That bothers me. And even like with that work, there's lots of everywhere. Anybody goes, I think there's going to be somebody with their own insecurities. And in my world, I interpreted it as like, honestly, they were being jealous of me moving up or me in the position, and running a store of like 100 people. Not everyone's going to like me. And so it's helped get me in alignment with, okay, like even in everyday world, it's small potatoes when some person doesn't agree with what I say. And it used to bother me when it was because in reality, it's like unasked for opinions. So there's always lots of, people throwing their opinions out there. And it was like, that, okay, thank you for venting on me, but like, I didn't ask for that. And that's your thought, not mine. So more power to you, And so when I kind of have the attitude, like kind of how Denise started towards others, I started getting back the, wow, she's so insensitive. She's just insensitive. And they would feel that I'm insensitive because I'm not agreeing with them, because I'm not on their bandwagon, because when I think that sometimes, I mean, I could be a victim of it too, when you're constantly approaching someone else with your unasked for opinion, we start to expect them, it turns into unknowingly trying to get them to agree with us. And, so I found that when I started kind of mind over matter certain situations, I mean, there's certain conversations that could trigger me more than others, but, for the most part, if I don't agree with them, I just don't agree with them. I'm not going to lie and be like, oh, okay, here you go. This is what you want. It's what I, agree with. So I just, either don't say anything and they take it as being insensitive, and that's not the case at all. But yeah, so I kind of related a little bit with her incident at school.
Excellent.
But
excellent.
Yeah, and then also what I was going to add with about how we were all kind of, I was listening to a little bit of the struggles, and we're in the 20s now. Well, you guys are in the 20s, and I'm in the 30s, but it, like, I kind of have a feeling you know, the purpose too of going through the lessons is to remold ourselves. So in my opinion, I feel like the reason why I started going through struggles is because I was recognizing and realizing the remolding of what's going on. So in the transition, we have a little bit of friction. So then we start kind of trying to fight with it a little bit, you know, losing the sleep and trying to hurry up and get this done and get that done and hurry up and be on the schedule and rush, 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 rush. But then I also feel like it's teaching us too, because we are remolding, that, you know, hey, take your time. Or, you know, it's basic, you know, I kind of feel like we're like, while going through A Course in Miracles and the lessons, it's also helping us to remold ourselves. Well, let me rephrase that. It's remolding me into not pushing through situations that make me feel uncomfortable. And if I woke up in the middle of the day and it were the, you know, every 30 minutes, okay, well then I guess my middle of the day of the every 30 minutes starts right there. And lucky me, because I don't have to go full 24 hours with every 30 minutes, you know. So I guess, you know, like it doesn't have to be like 5 books, obviously this book, but I don't know. So I kind of feel like, in my frustrations as well, like being on the time limits, and, you know, it's also, you know, to forgive myself a little bit if I'm not up to anybody's expectations. And it's basically just me in the book. So it's my own judgment against myself if I'm not, you know, pulling up to the expectation. But
You got that right.
Yeah, and my favorite, I have to say, I don't have one particular favorite, because when I was in the 20s, lessons of the 20s, I absolutely liked those. And now that I'm in the 30s, I absolutely love these. I realized that in each increments of 10, they start adding on, it starts adding on more and more sort of little challenges. Like now in the 30s, you know, we've added 3 times a day to practice, which, you know, I like it. I think it's kind of cool. And my favorite one right now is lesson 34. And lesson 34 is I could see peace instead of this. Because, you know, there's been like a lot going on at work or even in home life. And I haven't been frustrated with a lot of people, but I've been finding a lot of people getting frustrated with me. And it goes along the lines of, some people will say, you're kind of different now. And it, you know, it discusses this, like when you're starting to remold yourself, people will start noticing, oh, you're kind of different now. You're more at peace. You're more at this. You're more at that. And so, you know, some people have started getting a little frustrated. The ones that are a little more controlling than normal. I got a little bit controlling people in my life that like to, hey, do this, do that, and how come you're not so emotionally available for me? So, you know, I could just go back to, I could see peace instead of this, and get myself out of that flustered moment of feeling, oh my God, okay, I'm sorry you're feeling that way. How can I attend to you? How can I make you feel better? What do I need to do for you? And, you know, it's not for them, it's for me. So
Good.
that's it.
Excellent. Thank you, Mindy. I'm at lesson 33. There's another way of looking at the world, and I actually couldn't. I've been off of ACIM for 2 whole days, just because I needed a break. So I've fallen behind with the lessons. I'm at number 33. I guess I should be at 35 or 36. And it feels good to have slowed down and just to trust that I am where I am. And I noticed that I've had a little bit of resistance toward the lessons. 31, 30, and 32, I had resistance to those, which is why I think I needed the break. Or it could be that I liked those attack lessons, like those lessons about attack. I liked those so much, I kind of wasn't ready to move on from them. So that was just good information for me. So I think that's it for me as far as my check-in. Just really resonating with the idea of the attack thoughts. It's huge. Obviously, as you know, a narcissist in recovery, everything is about superficiality and about maintaining an image. So, you know, the attack thoughts help to keep everything away from the core, keeps everything out in the world away from truth. So I think it's just fine, you know, that I took off for a couple of days. There you go. All right, my lovelies, let's move into work. Let's see, what do I have here? Oh, we do announcements now. So let's do our little announcements and make our assignments for the upcoming week. So I need some volunteers for the daily lessons. Who wants to post a lesson for today? I'm not sure if somebody's already scheduled for today because I erased it accidentally. Is somebody scheduled already to post for today, Saturday? Denise, are you waving your hand? Okay, you're supposed to be for Saturday today?
I'm
All
today,
right.
yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And I'm sorry, I'm looking at the paper, not at the not at the Google Hangout. And I'm not looking at a paper, by the way. I'm looking at a screen, but to me, it's now paper. All right. So, who wants to post on Sunday? Frida's posting on Sunday. Thank you, Frida. Who wants to post on Monday?
I can do Tuesday.
Okay, Andrea's doing Tuesday. We need a taker for Monday. I can do Monday. My 6 a.m. client has moved later, so that can give me a good opportunity to post on Monday. That should be Crystal Lynn. How
I can do Thursday.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mindy. We got Thursday taken. We need somebody for Wednesday. Anybody on Wednesday? If not, it's okay. I'll just leave it open and see see if I can get somebody who's not on the call. Yeah, okay. What about anybody for Friday, Wednesday, Friday, or Saturday? Does anybody want to do posts for 2 days?
I'll do actually the following Saturday, so today and the following Saturday.
Fantastic,
Saturdays are
Denise.
better for me.
Okay, that's wonderful. I appreciate that.
I'll do Wednesday and Thursday.
When Mindy, we have Thursday. Okay, gotcha. All right, I gotcha. I understand now. Sorry. So I just need somebody for Friday. Frida, do you want to do another day, or Andrea? Okay, Frida will do Friday. Excellent. Thank you. All right, and we need someone to study the principles of miracles and do a mini little presentation for that. So we're looking at principle 9 and principle 10. Who wants to do principle 9?
I'll do it.
Who's that? Andrea, you're going to do number 9. Thank you so much, Andrea. Andre, 2. And what about principle 10?
I'm not going to be doing a lot probably this week, and the reason why I committed to Wednesday and Thursday is just giving you guys a heads up. I got a lot going on with work that I'm doing my study program. I have to train a whole bunch of outlets and stores to convert over to our bonds stuff. So
Okay.
I'm doing a lot of studying with that too.
Okay, so fine. Thank you for that insight, Mindy. All right, so who wants to do principle 10? Frida, you are on for principle 10. Thank you. Now, we're going to start chapter 3 next week, and I feel like, Sarah! Hey! It's been so long. Sarah, it's been weeks. I can't hear you. Okay. Sarah, cannot hear you. Got that same old kind of thing. Okay, nope, can't hear you. I saw you unmute yourself. Wait, did I just hear you now?
No, it's Andrea, but I said anytime I had the issue, if I rebooted the computer, it would go back.
Very good. Did you hear that, Sarah? You might have to shut off, reboot your computer and then come back on. And Andrea, you actually rebooted the whole thing? Like you would shut down the whole computer?
Yeah, I
Not just
literally
reboot.
restarted the entire thing. That was the only time, because it happened twice, and that was the only time it went back on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
All right, so hey, Sarah, look, before you go off to reboot, I want to ask you if you want to do a chapter presentation. We're in chapter 3, and we have sections 1, 2, and 3 that we're going to do for next week. Do you want to take on one of those? Number 1, yeah? Okay, so I'm going to put Sarah in there for Atonement Without Sacrifice, chapter 3, section 1. All right, cool. Thank you. We're going to finish this up, and we'll see you when you get logged back on. All right, cool. So we got that done. Now, what about chapter 3, the innocent perception? I need somebody to do section 2, which is miracles are true perception. Is that you, Denise?
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right. And how about section 3, perception versus knowledge? I'll go ahead and do that one. Oh, wait, who spoke up?
I'm Andrea.
Andrea, you do it. Perfect.
It was section 3 you said? I'm sorry.
Yep. Chapter 3, section 3, perception versus knowledge.
Okay.
Yes. Excellent. Wonderful. Yes. And then for the following week, we'll have that. Chapter 3 has 4. It has 7 sections altogether, so we'll do 4 sections the following week. But I think we can just enjoy just having 3 for this week. Okay.
The following week is the 18th, because next week's the 11th, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
Okay, because I won't be on that one on the 18th, but I'll be there next week.
Yes, perfect. Yep. Thank you. Very good. Très bien. All right. So, So we have the principle of miracles, and both of our presenters are gone. And
I'm on today. I'm on today for 2.8.
Right, but we're talking about the principles.
Yes.
Yep. And for those, I am. So what I would love for you guys to do is, it's very good that in the general posts you make a post that says, I'm not going to be on the call, but it would be really helpful if you're going to miss that, you actually write me specifically and say, I'm not going to be here. Can you make sure you have your notes to cover my section? All right. So just making a post on Facebook is great to let everybody know, but if I'm going to have to facilitate a discussion, I would love a little heads up. All right. But I am very confident that we can talk about the principles of miracles, number 7, together as a group. So this principle of miracles, number 7, says that miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. So is there anybody who would like to jump on and who would like to try to facilitate a discussion around this? Personally, I'm confident with it, but I'd love for one of you all to take it on if you'd like to. All right, well, I'll go ahead and just hop on and start talking about it. So it says that miracles are everyone's right, but purification is necessary first. So it's, to me, it seems straightforward, although I bet there's some subtle subtext that I have not picked up on. And what I'm understanding is that a miracle is something that happens in the mind. And the miracle is a shift in consciousness from fear to love, from separation to unity. So in order for me to shift from fear to love, I have to purify. And I notice, because I am in a place where I have a lot of fear, I notice that for me, I do a process of purification to help me pull myself out of fear. So I have this irrational thing that happens when I get up in the morning to go running. And I'm invalidating my feelings by saying that it's irrational, but that's really how it feels, on the outside. If you looked at me, you looked at where I am, you looked at my excellent health, if you looked at my experience as a runner, you would think that's irrational for you to have any fear before you go out on a run. 3 miles, 6 miles, 10 miles, it doesn't matter. I'm always going to have the same level of anxiety before every run. And what I have to do is purify myself. When that anxiety comes up and that fear comes up, I have to purify. And the way I purify is I bring myself to a place of love. And for me, the purification process is, number one, I acknowledge the fear that I feel. I say, I understand you. And then I validate the fear by feeling it and by saying, that's a valid fear. I understand. But I make myself accountable to that fear by talking about it. Like, if I'm going to have a fear, it means I have to stop, pause, be quiet, and listen. So the dialogue usually goes, hey, I'm afraid. I feel the fear. Oh my God, I'm sorry. There's a horse running across the pasture. He's in his beautiful little pasture and he's just running across it for no good reason. I'm sorry, I got distracted. That was a beautiful sight. I love my life. So going back, he's just dancing all around, all on his own, just lovely. Sorry guys. So that's the thing. That horse is running is just for the sake of its running. And I put all this pressure on myself before I go run. And that's where the fear always comes from. It's like, am I going to go fast enough? Am I going to be strong enough? Am I going to be able to make it through the whole run? Am I going to get in before the time I need to get my training done? I got to write it down, all this kind of stuff. So when I give voice to that, I find myself purifying, releasing, detoxifying. And the way I don't leave the house until I come into alignment with love, which is, I'm just here. I'm like the horse. The horse is running around, just enjoying himself. He's out there with a goat. That's what I should do. I'm just going to go out there. It's a horse, a goat, and a cat in a pasture, and 2 blackbirds. All right. My life is so beautiful. And that's what I should do. So for me, that's what this this principle is about. It's like everybody can have a miracle, but you got to get your mind set. I'm sorry, I got to go watch the horse. We're going to go watch the horse together. And you all jump in anytime you want to. This is just me having a freak out moment with the horse. I'm wondering if you'll be able to see all the way, whoops, over there in that pasture. It's a little bit far away for the camera, but the horse right now is, shit, how do I find it in this little tiny camera? The horse is over here. There it is.
Is it white?
Yeah,
I
it's
see
white. Yep. And right now he just ran over there and he's just standing still and he's scratching around, but he's obviously excited about something. He's digging. But he's really cute when he goes running. It's just hilarious. And he's kicking his feet back and just running.
I can't believe this place that you're staying. Like,
I know, for $800 a month. Can you imagine?
God. Crazy.
So blessed. I'm telling you. Oh, you know why he was running? His owner is there. He was excited to see his owner. Come on. That is so adorable. That is really sweet. So I guess we're not going to be able to see too much. She's going into his pen now.
Well, we can see where you live now. I like that. Oh my God.
It's gorgeous out here. Oh my God. And my little apartment, it's a mess. I'd show you it, but it's a beautiful little place, you know, just perfect for a person writing. You want to be in a cabin. You want it to be small and cute. You want a big kitchen so you can fill your refrigerator full of good organic vegetables and, you know, nice meat if that's your thing. It's my thing. I do love it. Definitely. So sorry to get distracted there, friends.
Okay. I'm glad you shared it with us. I like it.
Sure. Thank you. So who wants to jump in, though, and chat about this principle number 7, that miracles are a right and that purification is necessary?
I have one point that I took down that kind of like purification is kind of changing your thoughts about the past.
Yes.
And it kind of, like we've been talking about, a new way of thinking.
I love that, Denise. That's exactly it. Changing your thoughts about the past and changing your ideas about the past, but it changes the moment.
Yeah.
It changes me in the moment. When I let go, I feel like I'm actually in the moment with what's going on, which is like being with that horses. I get to go out there and run. I get to go out there and run on country roads. I have good health. I love running. I have a strong body. I get to go out there and do that. Yeah. You know, but there's resistance from the past ideas and these thoughts of even projections onto the future that are totally not valid, you know? And I do feel like that's what's meant in this particular principle about the purification.
Me too.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Does anybody else want to chime in?
You know, there's one more thing that I had written down from something I read earlier, and it said, what is it? Change your thoughts. I would like taking your power back and drive rather than be driven. Like kind of not being a passenger, making those changes.
Ooh.
Being in charge.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was another
quote.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Even just today, I was thinking that same thing. You know, I was thinking about myself as a manifester. You know, I'm a very powerful manifester, and there's always a certain thing that's happening when I'm seeing manifestations. I have a thought, and I am consciously driving those thoughts. You know, and it's like the thoughts are a chariot, you know, or the thoughts are a car, an automobile. And either I can let fear sit in the seat and drive the thoughts, or I can sit in the seat and drive the thoughts. And when I sit in the seat and drive the thoughts, I come into places like this. I see a horse running at the same time that I'm talking about running.
Yeah.
Today I was out, you know, we were out shopping, and then we came back home. I was out with my friend, and we see deer and wild boar running across the pastures. And we're like, whoa, what is that all about? And so it starts this whole thing. Turns out that the hunters were chasing the deer and the boar out so that they could count them, right? But to show up at the right place at the right time to see that, like to see a giant boar, like I'm talking like a 200-pound, not a 200-pound, sorry, 100-pound boar running across the wild, you know, and the hunters aren't out shooting them. The hunters are out photographing them and marking them because the hunting season is over, and this is kind of how they honor the land and they honor the, you know, the herd by making sure that they're not overhunting them, not, not taking too much away, right? Very cool indeed. Awesome. All right, so if there's no other input on this particular principle, we move on to the next principle, which is number 8. And that is, I'll read it, and I'd love for somebody else to jump in here on it. Miracles are healing because they supply a lack. They are performed by those who temporarily have more for those who temporarily have less. Who would like to give a little chat about that?
I can give my reaction.
Right on.
I remember when I read this, I was like, I don't understand at all. You kind of think of like manifesting and how you don't want to have a lack or like lack mentality. You're kind of afraid of like, oh, I was falling back into lack mentality there. Like, I don't want to do that. But I think and then this is my science nerd coming out. I was kind of thinking of it as like, you know how wind moves from high pressure to low pressure, or like things that flow from, kind of like one system to fill in a lower system. That's kind of how I thought of miracles working, like moving from temporarily more to fill in temporarily less.
Wow,
Sense.
I love that, Sarah. I love that analogy. I think that's a wonderful analogy to picture it in that way. I would never have come up with that. But yes, I'd say that that's absolutely true. That idea of, the idea is that we are infinite, and I feel like the space of miracles is simply entering into the space of infinity, of abundance, of all, basically infinity. It's all. And I feel like we have, when we move in and out of that space of infinity, when we are, then we are in that all space. And when we're out of the miracle, we've forgotten who we are. And that is where we have the low pressure system. We have the high pressure system. I love this weather analogy. It's so good. We have the high pressure system with connection, with unconditional love. And we have a low pressure system with fear and with lack. And that miracle comes in to repair that and bring us back into the fold. Thank you, Sarah. That was very good. Does anybody else want to add anything?
I'm not sure if it's really, I don't know. Well, I guess it is relevant. My perception of miracles is that miracles happen all around us every day. It's when we're becoming aware, and we're listening to our angels, or we're listening to our guides, or we're listening to, we have so many of them all over the place. Just like I feel like it was possibly maybe a little gift that you had to, when you were in the middle of that conversation right there at that very moment, what you were saying, and then all of a sudden you look up and you saw a horse. I believe that we're always in communication with the outside world, and or I don't want to say outside world, inner world, I don't know. Is it really important to know? But just being in communication. But every morning when I wake up, I'm in the habit, before I even get out of bed, even if I have to go to the bathroom, it doesn't matter how long it is. Sometimes my prayers are 5 minutes, sometimes they're 2 minutes, sometimes they're 1 minute, sometimes they're 10 minutes. But the very first thing that I start going into is I start thanking for my miracles that I'm having throughout the day, and what I had yesterday, and recognizing miracles in situations that even didn't really make me happy. And when we were talking about the purification, I kind of interpreted it as like getting purified first is to have like pure thoughts and to create miracles out of pure love, to purify ourselves first, if that makes sense. But anyways, I don't know. I used to think that miracles were magic. Oh my goodness, it's got to be this and something that's miraculous. But you know, I could look at a plant growing, and to me, I could see it 1 week from when it started and think, oh wow, that's pretty cool. That's a miracle. And it's even more touching if I can see it in slow motion on film as the seed is popping open and moving, and I think, oh my God, that's a miracle. You know, and they happen all around us, and sometimes we see it and sometimes we don't. And I think that we're closer to seeing the miracle, and I'm closer to seeing the miracle, my miracles, when I take a notch down, slow down, and actually witness anything and everything going on, whether it be, you know, good or bad in someone's mind. There could be an argument, but there's always a miracle in it. That's my silver lining. Okay, that's it.
Cool. Yeah, please go ahead, Frida.
So sorry, I had to step out for a little bit there. But this whole, I missed part of the conversation, but coming back talking about purification, I sat down yesterday night, and because I had been going through a lot of kind of inner turmoil, and I came to face with myself, and I thought to myself, you're a very selfish person, and you're not very giving. And that's why at times I have a hard time being my true self, is because I've been conditioned to be more of a taker than a giver. It's kind of like the Latina female thing where, you know, there's all these roles that you're supposed to play, and, you know, and I sat there and I thought, you know, I have to let go of a lot of conditioning. So my form of purification is, I guess, you know, doing my shadow work in a way where I'm kind of like, okay, why am I in so much distress right now? And I find that when I'm in a lot of distress, it's because I'm in misalignment. So I'm up here thinking and thinking and thinking, and I'm not letting my heart, you know, do its thing. And this week I was in a situation where I was like, I know I'm thinking this, but that's error thinking. So I'm going to go with my heart. And that was really tough. It was 3 days of really, really digging in deep. So I think that's part of the purification process, because then a miracle does come out of it. And that miracle is part of that transformation of just, you know. So that's
I think that's really good. I think that's really good input about how this purification process works. It is a process, right? And I know that Jesus has said in this book a number of times that he's in control of time. He collapses time. And the thing that's coming through for me is about how we are, you know, Frida goes through her process of shadow work and then arrives at the miraculous mind state. Crystalline goes through her shadow work process, which is talking about the fear, and then she arrives at the miracle mind state. I think that in terms of God, because there is no time, there is no space, that all this is already happening. It's all happening all at the same time. And we're experiencing it in linear form because that's the collective consciousness into which we've bought. We're invested in this. This is how it works for us. So we think it's a linear thing. And I'm saying that because I'm saying this for two reasons. The purification process is twofold. It works in a linear way, in the way that Frida described it and the way that I described it. And it also works in an instantaneous way, in the way that Jesus describes it. Now, what Mindy is talking about is a way of seeing the world through the eyes of unity. And I want to make a shift here, and I want to really kind of talk to Mindy about her use of the word miracle, because she uses the word miracle in a very traditional sense. And it's not in the same sense that we use the word in A Course in Miracles. A Course in Miracles is very specific about what it means for the idea of what a miracle, where the real miracle is. And I want to see if we can maybe all as a group engage in a dialogue and see where the real miracle is. Because according to the text and what we're learning in A Course in Miracles, the idea is not that the flower growing is the miracle. It's that our mindset of appreciation and unity and connection with the flower growing is the miracle. The miracle is not the horse running across the pasture, but it's my connection with oneness. That is where the miracle is. Does that make sense to you all? I'm talking, this is a question of semantics, but it's also just a little bit of a way for us as people who are now kind of studying miracles to use the word in integrity with what we're learning, and to see where we can bridge the misperception of the miracle. And this is important because I feel like, the person who doesn't know this work is constantly looking to see the miracles in the outside world. They have not done this work. They do not understand that it's not the flower that grows that is the miracle. The flower is going to grow. Flowers grow. Horses run. That's not a miracle. The miracle is our appreciation, our alignment, our willingness to open up. The miracle has to do with us, not with anybody else. Does that make sense, you guys? Yeah? Cool.
I think just to reiterate your point, Crystalline, like the miracle, we're always looking to the external world,
right,
for evidence, when
thank you. Yeah.
The true is the fact that we are the outside world, alignment with ourselves and source, allowing these external things to come into our view.
Yes.
Is that right? Does that sound like you were?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I feel like this is the point of A Course in Miracles, and it's the point of a law of attraction, what Abraham Hicks is teaching. It's the idea that, and thank you, Sarah, for bringing that word into the conversation. Evidence of the miracle, of our miracle mindedness, is reflected all around us. So the evidence of the miracle is in the plant that grows. The evidence in the miracle is in our own growth, our own good feelings. The evidence in the miracle is in the apartment that I love. The evidence of the miracle is also in the slaughtering of an animal, if you are in the miracle mindset. So it's not even, and this is where I think it's important to understand, and it's important for us to be the miracle workers that we're learning to be. You can't cut off and say, well, this is a miracle and that's not a miracle. That's why looking at the external things and calling those things miracles is going to pose a challenge, because the work with source energy is universal, meaning it's always. So we can separate ourselves from painful experiences and say that's not us. But part of our work is to be in pain and to say, to find the miracle in that moment. I'm having, tremendous fear right now. Part of the work is to be present and to say, I am finding that miracle state in this moment. I have fear, but I am still here. There is an opening for the miracle mindedness. Does that make sense, or does that seem too airy-fairy?
No, that makes sense. I'm going back to something that's on, I can't find my glasses right now, but chapter 2, section 4, healing as release from fear. And it does say the miracle is the means, the atonement is the principle, and healing is the result. So
yes.
In a way, it's like the miracle is the means. It's that shift. Is that what you're saying? It's that shift,
yes.
and it's not the suppression of emotion.
Right.
Through the emotion, be it fear, anger, anything, even it doesn't have to be like bad stuff, like fear, anger. It could be love, it could be whatever it is. Allowing yourself to be in that moment, but at the same time be in alignment with God.
Absolutely.
So, like, so many times people suppress, and I think something that you wrote yesterday in your 100 days of happiness. It was something you wrote about people wearing masks, and that they get so caught up with the happy mask.
Yes.
This is not about that. I mean, the miracle mindedness is not going around with a smiley face, being positive all the time about stuff in a superficial way. It's actually digging in deep and saying, even though this hurts and this is very difficult, I still having faith. And so that's what I'm interpreting from what you're saying.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And does anybody else have an echo with me? Are you getting me twice? I'm going to unplug and hopefully corrected the issue. Do we still have an echo? Excellent. All right, cool. Thanks for making it so simple. It's because I'm miracle-minded. I've got the alignment right here. It's the alignment that is determined that my microphone is going to start functioning properly. So again, yeah.
Oh, I just want to, before I lose my thought, with what Frida was saying about being all of your feelings.
Yeah.
And that was, she was saying, like, that's miracle-mindedness. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to chime in with the atonement is at one-ment. So, like, being one with all of your feelings and, like, being one with the entirety of yourself.
Yes.
Is miracle-mindedness. And that's healing.
Yeah, that is it. Yes, absolutely, Sarah. Absolutely. And by the way, we at one-mented you while you were gone. We were always Sarah and at one-ment. At one-ment. We were reading, and we were reading at one-ment. I remember it was Andrea. She was like, I don't know. I can't read it anymore as atonement. I hope you guys don't mind, but I'm going to say at one-ment.
Really that makes me so happy. I haven't watched the replays yet, but I'm going to. So when I watch them, I'll be sure to give everyone a shout out.
That's cute. But yeah, it's for what we're doing here. I feel like it's important that we understand that we have an opportunity to come to a place of acceptance of where we are, but also understanding that we cannot and should not look to for the cause. That's my section. Cause and effect. We tend to look toward the effect, and we focus on that as being evidence of our right-minded. Well, we don't look at that. We look at that as being the source. And so we go around looking for things that are good, which is very good. It's very positive to look for things that are good in the world. But the fact is, we need to stay within ourselves. It starts from within, and the horse running, like just affirmation of who I am in alignment, because I could very easily have had my eyes closed. I could also, at the same time, find that at one-ment with my negative feelings, or what somebody might call a negative situation, like the Dalai Lama, and how he's able to stay just at one, at peace with everything that happens, against his country, against his fellow people. All right. Okay, guys. Any input? Mindy, would you like to maybe chime in on that? Because, I was talking to you about your use of the word miracles. And I know a lot of people are using the word in that way, but that was an opportunity to maybe open a discussion with you about it.
Oh, no, you did good. I mean, that's your, yeah, this is my intake on it, how I feel of it.
Okay, would you like to, okay, all right. So
yeah,
no
I don't really have a lot of time. Sorry, not to rush it, but I'm going to leave here and try to go get ready, but I'm still listening.
Are you,
I got to go to work today.
Do you have a section that you're presenting today? Should we do your section right now?
No, I opted out on doing the section. So I just did the lessons.
Oh, right. I do remember that. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, so friends, if there's anything else you want to add, does anyone want to add anything? Because otherwise we move on and we hop into our lessons, not our lessons, our chapter presentations. What did I do? Oh, I have it there. Okay. So if there is nothing, then we can go ahead and we'll start with chapter presentations. We're going to start with the special principles of miracle workers, which is in chapter 2, and its own little section there. And Frida is going to be presenting the special principles of miracle workers. You ready, Frida?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
So I started highlighting on page 27, kind of the special principles of miracle workers. And so, there's 8, right? There's 8 that are mentioned there, 8 special principles. So what I did was I just highlighted items that kind of not resonated, but kind of spoke to me. So the first one, the miracle abolishes the need for lower order concerns. And I guess lower order concerns would be those things that are part of the mundane world. Kind of like when we get so caught up with, and I know I do this, and I've done this, where, you get so caught up with like, I got to do this and I got to do that. And then, so you're like tunnel vision and just kind of more like into the functional aspects of your life instead of like living life. So the miracle worker is someone that abolishes the need for that, because you have faith that things will work themselves out. And feel free to chime in as I'm going through these. And then the second one, a clear distinction between what is created and what is made essential. All forms of healing rest on this fundamental correction and level perception. That goes back to perception, this whole idea of awareness versus perception, and things that are perceived or made because they're seen with the physical eye. And when we are aware and we are from a level of awareness, we then can be creative, because we come from our creator and he made us in his image. So therefore we are creative beings, but we limit our creativity, and because we only use our physical eye to see things. So therefore we make things instead of creating things. And then when we create things, we create those things that are essential. So we go back to the core, which is, I mean, think about it. When you're creating, you know, there's a bliss that goes with it, right? But when you're making stuff, or you're seeing it from one level only, then we clutter our minds, because we're filling our minds with all these thoughts. And therefore, when we're creating, we only create that which is essential. And that which is essential is beyond anything that we can ever make. So therefore it says all forms of healing rest on this fundamental correction and level of perception. So that I thought was very powerful. And I think that speaks to the purification process that we were talking about earlier at 1 minute. Does anyone have anything to add for that one? That's a big, I mean, I felt like that said a lot.
Frida, what number are we? Sorry,
I'm on page 27. And there's a section A that says special principles of miracle workers. And that's
right.
really right. Mm-hmm. So if you Section A has the special principles of miracle workers, and I'm on number 2.
Right. Okay. And weirdly, I have that as number 12.
Number 12. Right. It says number 12. Says number 12. It's like paragraph 12, but principle number 2.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then the number 3, never confuse right and wrong-mindedness. I guess that speaks to the fact that in order for us to be aligned or in one-ment, there is a need for error correction, and that there will be times when we're out of alignment, but the reason being is that the purpose of that is for us to work through that in order for, because we have a free will, these things will come up, or we choose to, because we have a free will, we choose to perceive things a certain way, and through that process of perceiving things the same way, it actually serves a purpose of us going back to the atonement and the miracle mindedness. So it says responding to any form of error with anything except a desire to heal is an expression of this confusion. This goes back to that we need to forgive ourselves and others. So this speaks to the fact that part of the process is wrong-mindedness, and that we should have a desire to heal anytime that there is confusion, and that if we start, if we don't know how to forgive ourselves, we're not going to be able to forgive others. And it speaks to that two-edged sword, again, goes back to that. And I had a situation even with my mom this past week where she's always talking about her husband died, and she was like, oh, I'm going to pray for his soul. I'm going to pray for this. I'm going to pray for that. But I'm not going to go to his funeral, And I'm like, and then she was like, then she felt guilty like 2 days later that she hadn't gone to the funeral. So it's like all this stuff came up, right? And I said to her, and she lives in a lot of turmoil and anguish. So I was like, part of the Lord's Prayer is, forgive others as I forgive me as I forgive others, something like that. And I said, you have to learn to forgive yourself, because if you can't forgive yourself, you can't forgive others. You're asking God to forgive you, but then you can't forgive yourself. And you're never going to be at peace if you don't know how to forgive yourself. So I think this speaks to that. So responding to any form of error with anything except a desire to heal is an expression of this confusion. So even if you're aware that you're not in your right mind, to use the words from that, if you come at yourself and you're attacking yourself, that's not a desire to heal. Okay? So does anybody want to add to that?
I just want to add that I agree 100% with what you said. It's amazing how I was raised to that you would not it's not that you're correcting. It's not that you're correcting right-mindedness, you're punishing it. You're punishing the person. And it's not about healing, it's about controlling.
Or shaming.
And shaming. And shaming is a way of getting to that way of controlling.
Yeah. Shaming, that's been like a big thing in my own upbringing, that you should know better. Why did you do that? That whole thing. So that was number 3. Number 4, the miracle is always a denial of this error and an affirmation of the truth. Only right-mindedness can correct in a way that has any real effect. So it just kind of, the principle number 4 is kind of supporting what's been already discussed. And it also speaks to the fact that if you that if no real miracle comes from wrong-mindedness. So again, going back to what we were talking about before, where people maybe suppress their emotions and maybe wear masks or go around, with a smiley face when they're really not really being them, not going through the work, but maybe appearing to be a certain way when they really aren't. That's not going to have a real effect. A miracle can't happen with that. You have to face You have to face whatever it is that you're doing. You can't suppress it. Being without substantial content, it lends itself to projection. So that's why a lot of people feel empty and they have to fill themselves with stuff. Going back to like what you were talking about in your food sober food. We would start filling ourselves up with stuff when we're not doing this kind of work. It's almost like our appetite for, it could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be smoking, it could be anything. It could be shopping, it could be sex, it could be anything. So the issue is not the food, the sex, the this, the that. It's more like why we're doing what we're doing.
That's it.
Yeah, they're just things that are available to us in our physical world. Does anyone have anything to add? I feel like I'm lecturing. Does anybody want to chime in and kind of?
You all go ahead and I got lots of chime in. So you guys go ahead. Sarah.
I definitely get just a reaction. I feel like I get defensive when it's like, wrong-mindedness. You're wrong. You think wrong. And I'm like, no, I don't. Which is not a desire to heal. So I'm trying to just kind of like own that reaction. I guess that's my only comment.
I have a question. When you say you're gonna, I'm sorry. There's so many echoes that are going on. Am I the only one where everybody's echoing except for Frida?
Everyone's echoing except for Frida. Me too.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, but just so I'm gonna log out because I think I'm the cause of this thing for some reason. But so that idea of your like kind of accepting that you might have wrong-mindedness in the moment. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. I guess so. I could when I am wrong-minded, when I'm stressed out, or when I'm walking around. But I guess this would be my resistance to an authority. But like to feel like Jesus is telling me I'm wrong-minded. I'm like, don't tell me what to do. So I'm kind of wrestling with that in myself.
I guess wrong-mindedness, the way I'm understanding it in this context, is in the process of being at one mint, that it would be wrong-minded to feel disconnected, not that you're doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
All right, I like that better.
Yeah, that's how I'm in my head. That's how I'm.
I think that I know. I hear the echo now too. I'm almost driving at home. But I think that everybody doesn't like to hear that they're wrong per se. So to handle something like that is to know in your heart if it feels right, then to you you're right. So when you hear there's like wrong and right, those are very strong words. So it's just I think a matter of like how you feel, because then if you hear you're wrong, then you start feeling sad. Then to me, in my own mind, I kind of feel that's the wrong way to go. So don't let someone else's maybe opinion tell you if you're wrong or right. You should ultimately know if you're when you're feeling good, you're on the right path. When you're feeling down, you're not on the right path. If that makes sense.
If that makes sense.
It makes sense, but I have a different take on that, because in the text that we're reading in regards to A Course in Miracles, wrong-mindedness is anything that takes us away from being at one-ment. Okay, so it's not a matter of opinion, because remember, opinion is based on perception, and right-mindedness, wrong-mindedness is whether or not you are in a state of awareness or not. And in the principles we discussed earlier, we talked about the fact that there will be contrasts in our lives. There will be times when we don't, it's not like feel good, no, don't feel good. Those, I mean, I feel like we're limited in the use of like what words mean, but there's a purpose to that contrast as well. But the wrong-mindedness doesn't mean that you are wrong, Sarah. You're wrong. Like, it's not like that. It's in the context of being at one-ment. This is taking you away from it, from the miracle. So it's more that.
That was really helpful.
Because I was taking it personally. Where I was like, I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
But I like that framing of wrong-mindedness is when you're within your ego. Almost, or not living in unity.
You know, I feel like I want to. I think when I was listening to Frida, I'm going to take these damn earphones off because I cannot deal with this echo. I think you can hear me, yeah? So when I was just listening to the way she describes at one minute is actually I think where I'm saying that focuses on the evidence. And what I think I just realized is that a proper way of using the word would be perhaps that Mindy is saying in atonement when she's witnessing the flower. And it feels like what Mindy is trying to do is to approach her life from a place of being at one, which is kind of that step beyond the miracle. I think that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Maybe whenever you get a moment, maybe chime in there and see if that actually has any truth for you. But it's kind of like being miracle-minded and trying to see the world through the miracle is like being at one. Does that make sense to anybody?
Well, because what you're saying is that remember when we had a discussion around perception and awareness? So what Mindy's coming out, and I love the way we're talking about Mindy, but what I guess what you're saying.
Anybody else want to step on the stage, they can.
Yeah, so maybe I think what I'm understanding from what Crystalline is saying, Mindy, is that perhaps what are you saying? You're back on, so I wasn't sure if you were on.
Oh no, I'm here. I'm just getting ready for work. Well, there's. I mean, I just said it. you know, I mean, everybody has their own intake on it. So, I don't get bothered as much. I don't even know if the right word is bothered, but I'm very patient with other people's opinions. Like, that's just the way I was raised, because I was blessed with, you know, my mother taught me a lot to, I just honestly, I recognize my surroundings, and they're, you know, I don't try to get others to maybe be on my bandwagon on my way of beliefs and thinking. I'm very acceptant to any religion, to any opinions. You know, to each their own, honestly. And this is my journey and my road, and it's. I mean, I'm the producer of my own movie, and I just, you know, this is. I mean, I know that in some. I think what you guys are saying is that if I have an opinion, or if I have, if I perceive something a certain way, that it may not be a miracle. So it could be different words that we're all understanding. But you know, I love my life, so it's kind of a miraculous way, and you know, I don't know, like just the years of reading the book and going through a lot of seminars, and Denise and I listened to a lot of the saying that introduced Course in Miracles, like Mariam Williamson, Gabrielle Bernstein, Wayne Dyer. You know, that's what got me into this way of thinking, and that's what spoke on me. So it's like I said, I'm not going to ramble on because I do have to get ready. But I am saying that it's okay to have your own beliefs. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you. Are we good to go to the, did anyone want to add anything? Crystalline, you're not.
Yeah,
thank you.
Right now.
Yeah,
thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to try to make sure that I was. I'm really. And Mindy, understand, it's of course you're entitled to think whatever you want to think, and believe whatever you want to believe. But what I'm working on as a group, and as somebody who's facilitating for this group, is to have to provide an open forum to discuss and to enjoy the process of exploring different ways of seeing things, which is what A Course in Miracles is doing for us. It's giving us an opportunity to look at the way we used to see things and to see them in a different way. And what I'm inviting you and everyone else in the group to do is to maybe look at things a little bit differently than what we've looked at before. And this is an opportunity, to challenge. And I'm also someone who's a teacher. So for me, words are really important. And it's not about trying to get you or anybody to change their opinion. However, being someone my process is to think very deeply about things, which is why I asked you to slow down so I can write all my notes and blah, blah, blah. So for me to kind of understand where you're coming from in a different way is really significant for me. I don't need you to change, but I need to know what the world is about. You know, I have to understand things. That's just my brain. That's my Aquarian-ness. So,
and I sorry, I just want to say something really quick. I'm still listening. I just, you know, in case I don't get a chance to say it, but I think you're doing a fabulous job. And I really enjoy the group. And I'm not offended in any way, so please, anybody out there, you know, just know that I'm not offended because it takes a lot to offend me, and I guess what I'm saying is I don't get offended very easy. But anyways, everybody, just wanted to let you know you're doing a fabulous job. Love you, and I love listening to this.
Okay. Cool, thank you, and I appreciate I appreciate you bringing your perspective and allowing me to dissect it because it's what I do. I dissect everything. That's my world. And it helps me to understand things better. So I do appreciate, Frida, with your insight, bringing this kind of understanding as, I think, I don't know, bringing this idea of atonement to like the everyday, of understanding that when Mindy says that she looks through the world and she's trying to see things in a positive way, that is one. That's a step beyond being miracle-minded. I don't know. It seems that way to me, but it's something I have to chew on and explore. All right, so I'm going to let you get back to it, so you can finish, and I'm going to sign off because I can't handle this echo.
Okay, Crystalline. Do you want me to continue while you sign off, or wait for you?
Yeah, go ahead and continue.
Okay. Okay, so then number 5, the level adjustment power of the miracle induces the right perception for healing. That just speaks to what we've talked about earlier, that if it says forgiveness is an empty gesture unless it entails correction. So correcting it would be part of becoming more aligned. So, when there's people that will say, yeah, I forgive you for that, but they do it in like you poor thing, you sinner, you whatever, like, I forgive you. That's not true forgiveness. So speaking again about ourselves in the process of purification, we need to own that forgiveness because we need to see ourselves how God sees us. And so again, it goes back to perception and awareness. And I think that's what Crystalline is trying. I don't know. I'm interpreting what Crystalline is saying as perception. When you go around trying to see the good in everything, that's still perceiving the world. But when you're aware of it in its totality, not just in the things that feel good, but also in its richness. And within that richness of experience, if we can be in atonement, then that's a true miracle. If we can, does anyone have anything to add for the number 5? Sarah, you look like you want to say something, or?
I'm trying to remember.
I remember
there was an earlier distinction about miracles and revelation. That was me.
Is
what is
remember
early
about miracles are step one. And they speak to you, I think, on
the perceptive level.
And then once you get to revelation, you don't even need miracles anymore. So much in that you have kind of a direct relationship to God. Your inner spirit. But I'm going to make a note to look up what I'm talking about. So I can find passage.
Yeah, I think I'm understanding what you're saying in that when you're in that, there's no need for the miracle because you're already at that level of, that is the miracle. So therefore you no longer need revelations. But I think that's more like an internal more than an up, like you are at one mint. So therefore you are no longer in need of revelations because you are already there. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So you get to a state where you no longer need like external, high to low processes of miracles. Don't need anymore. Because you have reached, which is the end goal, I guess.
Okay. Thank you. I'm going to move on to we have 3 more to go. Miracle mindedness, forgiveness is only correction. So there's this reference here. It says, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. So whenever anything or anyone does something to, we should see the because we're all part of one, we're all part of one, right? And when we're able to see ourselves in others, or whenever we're able to see the light in ourselves and in others, we're able to forgive people's actions because we know that that comes from a state of them not being aligned, or and so this in order to be a miracle worker, you have to see that, feel connected to other people and not see them as separate from ourselves. And not that you're going to think, oh, okay, that's fine. Just, because some people might interpret that as being like, oh, so just what? Let people walk all over me and blah, blah, blah. That whole other way. That's not what this is saying. This is just saying that true forgiveness is the only correction. And it references the Lord's Prayer, not the Lord's Prayer, for the statement, Father, when Jesus was on the cross, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do. So you're seeing the light in yourselves and the light in others, and understanding that when we are in wrong-mindedness, that's the error. And just being aware of our humanity. Does anybody want to add to that, or?
Really quickly, sorry, I kind of wanted to add to that. I was listening a couple of times. I've heard it. I listen all the time to Esther Hicks, and she would touch on that part from A Course in Miracles. And when she dissected it, from my understanding, what I got was that that statement was everybody took it too literal out of the Bible. And what it is that they weren't. This is what I got out of it. And she did kind of say this was that when you're not in the right set. Basically, when our vibrations are very low, we're creating and manifesting. But it's not the miracle until we raise our vibrations. And so forgive them for they do not know would be in education is a very strong word, but for some who are uneducated in the quote unquote laws of attraction are manifesting, not realizing that their vibration needs to be at a higher state and a happier moment while they're creating miracles. Okay, I got you ready.
Okay, I'm not understanding what you're saying. I'm not understanding the connection. Does anybody else want to add to what Mindy said?
Sorry, guys. Never mind. Then I'll explain it on the next one.
Okay.
I think what Mindy is saying
is that,
like you were saying, Frida, the that
error that
referring to when he's on the cross is not them killing him, them crucifying. The thing he's asking forgiveness for is their wrong-mindedness. Because if they were in their right mind, they would never crucify one another. And I think
That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I was. That's what I was saying the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. I think
The error was just it was.
Okay. I think what's happening too is because I don't know too much about the law of attraction. I mean, I've listened to it a little bit here and there, but I'm not like really a deep understanding of it. It takes, and I sounds like Mindy, you're using that lens, because you know so much about it. You're using that lens to also kind of like, I guess they call it cognitive stitching, when you try to use your lens and the way you see something and kind of bring in these new concepts. So that's why it was a little hard for me to understand, but thank you for clarifying that. Yeah. Does anybody else have anything to add? We have 2 more. Okay, and then the next one talks about, I think it relates again to the sonship. My request, do this in remembrance of me, is the appeal for cooperation from miracle workers. The 2 statements are not in the same order of reality. So it just talks again about that in order for us to be part of the sonship, we need to be connected to others. So this isn't something that can happen in isolation. You know how people will say, I want to be at peace, so I'm just going to go be a hermit and not have to deal with people, and this and that. Maybe that's a silly way of interpreting this, but it's the work is in the being here, and in the interacting with others and being part of the physical world as well. It's not something like you can't be at one man by yourself. There's that so it says here, it is the appeal for cooperation for miracle workers. Does anybody have something to add to that? That's just my take on that. Okay, and then the last one, there's just a prayer. You can do much on behalf of your own healing and that of others in a situation calling for help. So I appreciated that because I need a lot of help. So I just like the fact that that the course it also allows for that, and there's an actual prayer there for us. And that's me. That's it.
I had to Sorry, I just because I giggled. It just felt really funny to have this prayer, because the thought that came in my head is prayer. I gotta have shadow. If I'm not doing shadow work, then that's no. I am not going to be in my right mind. I can. And this is where I think some of the difficulties people have, even with attraction. They feel like kind of movement of okay, I'm going to focus on what's right and positive, but I'm not going to do shadow work to to actually go into the dark part. So I have prayer, but I also have my shadow work and my hermit time. Okay, thank you, Frida. That was a great presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
For pass the baton.
Kristlyn, is anybody else having a hard time hearing you? It's a bad echo again. I can barely even make you out.
Well, I can't hear anybody. Everybody's echoing except for Frida, right? Or no, is it just me?
Am I I logged off and logged back on, and I don't think I'm echoing anymore.
No, you're not. It's just you, Kristlyn.
Yeah, well, the problem is if I log off, there's a message that said if I log off, I lose the whole broadcast. Sorry.
Well, at least
I don't hear you echoing anymore.
Now.
Am I echoing right now?
No.
Well, there you go.
It may have been one of our mics was picking up what you were saying.
Yeah, but I wasn't the only one echoing.
Yeah, first I was echoing too.
Sarah, you were echoing a lot too.
I know.
Was echoing. Everybody was echoing. So yeah, I don't know, but either way, it's whatever has happened.
It was everyone but Frida for some reason.
I know.
Mm.
So let's go on to our next thing. And thank God I don't have to log off, because that would suck for everybody to have to log back on. So the next, who's up for presenting next? We need section 6, fear and conflict.
That's
I'm
me.
2.8, so I'm not 6.
I am.
Okay.
Let me just put my dog down. Hold on. Okay. So I wrote this last night while I couldn't sleep, and my handwriting is so bad. So please bear with me on this. So it's fear and conflict. And I said, being afraid, the presence of fear shows that you have raised body thoughts to the level of mind. This removes them from my control. When you allow yourself to experience fear, you take what seems to be an involuntary instinct and choose to give it life instead of choosing me, God. You cannot separate yourself from the truth by giving autonomy to your behavior. It comes from what you think. You have allowed your mind to miscreate and not allowed me to guide it. You would not excuse your insane behavior on your part by saying you could not help it. Fear is always a sign whenever it conflicts with what you do. When you know you are out of alignment, the mind and behavior are out of accord. That's all I wrote. It's an expression of fear always. Produce it, wanting and doing. I can't even read. Discordant, conflicting, and can only be corrected by accepting a unified goal. And then I put the summary of the steps that they have. Knowing first this is fear, arises from lack of love. The only remedy for lack of love is perfect love. Is at 1 minute. And that's all I got.
Good. Does anybody have anything? Darn it, there's that echo again.
I think that was beautiful.
Does anybody have anything they want to add?
I think for me, I don't know what you guys think, but I feel like there's so much, or I think that there's so much, we live in a culture of fear, you know, and, you know, we see it in the media, we see it even in our concept of relationship building, you know, oh, know your boundaries and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, red flags and speaking your mind about what you want. And it seems to be like a lot out there about how to live in fear and how to function in fear. And even a lot of, I'm finding that even a lot of empowerment of women comes from this foundation in fear. And in this foundation of like if we're powerful women, we are powerful women, and we're always like coming from a point of almost aggression, like that's seen as strength. And I see that in popular media, and I even see it a little bit like in the self-help realm, where it's kind of like, you know, I don't know, what do you guys think? I mean, because this talks about fear, and I just feel like it's a challenge to kind of step outside of that, because we're so immersed in it in our culture. It's a fear dominant culture, and being strong in this fear dominant culture means that you act out on fear, and then therefore you're not at 1 minute. You're more like on the defensive constantly.
I have a note that says 1 minute is the undoing of the world of fear and return to love. So, kind of ready to go with that.
I hear you.
I know we're echoing again, huh?
I didn't
I can understand.
Atonement is undoing at 1 minute. Undoing of the world of fear and the return to love.
Okay. Yeah. So that's why I was saying, you know, that.
I think I
read all the messages that we get in the media and even from other people is be fearful.
I
just wanted to know if anybody else felt that as well, or
I definitely feel that, Frida. And I think a lot of it is be fearful because there's lack. You know, like lack of power, lack of money,
lack of
whatever else. We're kind of fearful because we always
assume there's always limited
resources and a lack.
And so then you have to go into that protected mode.
That's my
kind of
take on the root of where the fear comes from. Is this
understanding
of the world. That's wrong-minded.
Frida, would you mind trying to mute? Because I think I'm only echoing when your microphone's on. Okay. Yeah, I'm not echoing anymore.
I had a feeling that was the case.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yes.
I noticed
that
it
was the only one not echoing. Yes. Thank you,
so
Denise.
weird. Which is so weird. But yeah, I was adding on, to what Frida said. I totally agree. Now that I don't echo, I can say it. I totally agree with what you're saying, Frida, about the fear without an echo. But yeah, then I don't know where this note came from, and I agree with what Sarah's saying too about, I have another note that said we see ourselves sometimes as empty and lonely, like always, looking for something. And I think once we get away from that, we can have our at one with, getting away from the fear.
Yeah, I agree as well. And it's funny today, Frida, I just made a video about, I didn't start off talking about fear, but I ended up looking at our government with Donald Trump and the Conservative Party and how they are kind of isolating us because there's this fear of the other. And they're basing all their policy on fear. And it's like, you're coming into a new year, you're coming into a new office, you're coming into a new position, you're coming in with a new government. And the very first things you're saying to the world is, we're afraid. We're afraid of Muslims, we're afraid of ISIS, we're afraid of economic issues, we're afraid of Mexicans south of the border, we're afraid of people who are not educated. It's like, we're afraid. And it's really weird to have that being the dominating force in, with the world's largest country is, and the world's most powerful country is basing all of its policy on fear, which to me is so funny. And it's reflective because it's the collective consciousness. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going back to mute. Back to you, Andrea. You're running the show here.
I just keep thinking about something about last night, and this was before I went to bed and tried to go to bed and do my lesson, or not lesson, whatever, this section. I was alone, and the doorbell rang a little after 10 o'clock, which freaked me out because there's nobody who should be ringing my doorbell at 10 o'clock at night. And so legitimately, I was fearful. I even went to bed and I put mace by my bed because I looked out the window, there was nobody there. And I don't know, it just keeps playing in my head. Like, to me, that was, and then reading this and doing this lesson, and I'm trying to think, well, how could have I seen the, illusion in the fear? But I don't know, maybe you could help me with that. Because, I was thinking, okay, well, if fear is not, there is no fear, but at this moment, I'm fearful. To honor that, but I was trying to put it together and I really couldn't find a way to say there is no lack of love, there is this, that. If somebody's standing at my door with a gun, I would be fearful.
Look, I have issues. I have issues because when I was making this video about Donald Trump, and I'm sitting there looking at myself and I'm going, I'm sitting here in this bed in the middle of rural France. It's safe, but what about people who don't feel safe? Those people. If somebody came and even rang my doorbell right now, Andrea, I'd be terrified. I'd be like, what the fuck? Who is at my door? It's dark. I'm in the middle of nowhere. If I scream, nobody's hearing me. And I can't remember if the number is 611 for emergency or 911. I can't remember.
The horse will hear you.
What? Jason,
the horse. The horse.
Yeah, the horse would hear me. A lot of good that would do me. He's all up in his pen. So yeah, those are feelings. And the thing that I'm understanding is that when you have genuine feelings of fear, you have those feelings. Now, if you were totally zen, like what would Jesus do if Jesus had somebody knocking on his door at 10 o'clock? Jesus would remember who he was, and he'd probably tune in and feel and go and stand in front of whoever's at the door. And if they have a gun, Jesus would stand there and be like, "You're before me with a gun. What do you want?" Like I see you and I see your anger. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. And he would just be there present with himself and present with the moment. That's what I think. That's what I feel. But of course, for us as, people to do that, it's not pretty. It's not to say, your body is going to be feeling the effects of that fear. You're going to go poop your pants. It's scary. But do you be present in the moment? That's the only thing you have, is to let go of resistance and follow your instincts, follow your intuition and see what happens. That's my response.
Thank you.
Oui, madame. Does anybody else?
I have a little bit to say too. Teal, I don't know if any other people watch Teal Swan's videos, but she talks about fear and how it's different than A Course in Miracles talk about fear. And so she but I think it's helpful to kind of integrate your real life, your wrong-minded real life experience with Jesus's very high level perspective of fear not existing. And so I think there's kind of like dimensions of truth. So in our third level perspective, somebody knocking on the door by yourself in the middle of the night is terrifying. And you can't disown that truth. You can't say, "Oh no, it's totally fine. I'm Jesus and I'm good. I can open the door and it's going to be great." Like, that's not something that you can just fake your way into. But I think in that moment you own, like Crystalline was saying, you own your fear and you say, "I'm terrified right now. I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe no one's going to find me like for 2 days," like whatever that story is, you're like, yes. And then in that moment, I feel like what helps me is to be like, but there's another truth. Like right now I'm terrified, but there is a higher truth that maybe this situation isn't what I think it is. And I think you don't have to believe that. You don't have to go straight up and be like, "Yes, everything is love and fine and dandy." But you can maybe open the door by saying, "I'm terrified right now because I'm telling myself this story. And maybe it's true and maybe it isn't." And like, there might be a different, like just by saying like, maybe, like not telling yourself, "I need to feel this way. Like I need to feel like Jesus right now and be totally fine." Because that's a really big jump to make. But I think if you just kind of like are like, "I'm terrified and I'm going to put the mace by my bed and there's going to be a rolling pin next to me." And, but maybe there's something else going on here. Maybe this fear is not all there is, but still let yourself be afraid, because I think that's.
I kind of see, yeah. Isn't it, do you guys, just something to kind of ponder over too and think about? I'm almost at work, but I'm stuck in traffic anyways, by the way. But like, isn't it kind of crazy how we're molded and working on how we're remolding ourselves? Because if you take someone who's never been out in front of anyone, who's never watched TV, who's never watched movies, like scary movies, getting a knock at 10 o'clock at night, they would just walk down the stair or, wherever to the door, open it up, just like maybe a 4 or a 3-year-old would, who isn't really, and like, wait a second, I'm getting a knock at 10 o'clock at night, there's something wrong. I just thought it was something kind of neat to ponder over.
Andrea, you want to address that?
No, I totally understand what Mindy's saying, and I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And I totally, Mindy, I totally agree with that. Like, if you're not conditioned for things. And, you know, it made me think about when things have, when I've dealt with people who were fucked up, like I know my instincts for people are really good. And I've been in a few hairy situations, and there's a certain knowing that I've experienced when I've dealt with people. I'm like, there's something not right, you know? And a lot of that is that's another way where I feel like I'm at one, because I feel like I'm in a knowing. And just because you're at one doesn't mean you're only going to experience positive things. It means that you're at one. You're experiencing what you're experiencing, and you're moving with it. And I feel like conditioning takes us out of at one-ment. You know, just like what Mindy's saying, when you watch scary movies, you're feeding the idea of fear. You know, you're feeling it in your body. You know, your psyche is invested in that movie. When you don't have that, you don't have that as a distraction from the at one-ment of what's in there. I don't know. I think that's, I don't know. To me, that's my take on it.
Can I add to that? I think in a way, what Andrea, you're sharing about last night, I think you're taking an opportunity like that. It becomes an opportunity for you to kind of look at yourself and ask yourself, you know, why am I fearful right now? I mean, I see it as an invitation to explore that. Because for me, I would also be scared if I was alone in the house. And I've always lived alone, except for now when I'm, sharing an apartment with my friend Karina. But I've always lived by myself. And so I understand what you're talking about. But I think there's like the functional aspects of just being a woman and in situations where you're kind of like, well, probably not a good idea to go to like downtown LA by myself at 2 a.m. in the morning in certain neighborhood or whatever. I think those are just practical things, and I think fear in this is kind of stepping back and looking at what the mind habits are around fear, and whether, does that make sense? So there's like practical fear, and then there's mind habits of fear. So that's all I have to say. I think we're all saying the same thing.
Like a story gets engaged in your mind. You're like, I've seen this before. Somebody knocks at night. There are only so many roads this can go down. Like the news story or like the scary movie story, or it's so engaging with Frida's talking about the mind habits. Like, we get these stories in our heads about if this, then that. And so questioning, I think, being with the fear, absolutely, but also being like, is this always the case? Like, is a knock at night necessarily going to lead to what I'm afraid of? Which it may or may not, like, yeah, you could be like, yes, I have a very good reason for being afraid, and then that's your truth. But also, I think recognizing that it's a habit to like have these stories in our brain about what certain things mean. We've assigned certain things meaning, and a knock in the middle of the night is one of them.
Definitely.
Yes, I totally agree. Oh, sorry.
Excellent. No, go ahead, Andrea. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's all. I was just saying I totally agree.
Awesome. Cool. Does anybody else want to add to this dialogue? Otherwise, we move on to cause and effect. All right. Excellent. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
I am going to whip through cause and effect because, time flies when you're having fun. And we are now approaching the 2-hour mark. And I think we probably have done very well, but I feel like I'm ready to start moving into wind up mode here. So let me whip through.
Crystal Lynn.
Yes.
Do you want me? I'll go, listen, to do mine next week though, because I am 2.8. That's quite.
Yeah. No, I think we have time to get through yours, Denise. I feel good about doing yours. I'm just going to whip. Yep, I'm going to whip through mine, and then we're going to hop onto yours. And I think we're going to be okay, because I think it's important that we do keep ourselves moving. You're prepared. You've waited already for 2 weeks. So let's get her done.
Okay.
All right. So in Chapter 2, Section 7, titled Cause and Effect, I'm going to just give you all a summary. When you want to jump in, please just do. Unmute yourself and start talking, because I'm going to be looking at my notes. So in paragraph 1, Jesus says that he cannot release us from fear, and that he will not undermine our power by taking away our fear. He explains that it's, did somebody say something? Nope. Okay. Sorry. That was Denise. Okay. There we go. Thank you, Denise. He explains that it's, he says it's my mind, and he's not going to stop me from thinking what I'm thinking. And I think that's really funny, because I'm always praying and saying, Jesus, get me out of my own head, you know? And the thing is, he's like, it's not up to me to get you out of your head. It's up to you to get you out of your head. I got all the other stuff. All you got to do is get out of your own damn head. He says that this is in direct opposition to the basic law of cause and effect. Let's see, I have written that I'm assuming that the cause of my fear is my belief that I am separate from God and separate from love. Also, he's saying that if I'm letting myself have fearful thoughts, then it's because I'm not being vigilant with my focus. If fear is seeping into my mind, it's because my mind is not turned toward the light. He says that I need retraining for this. So in paragraph 2, Jesus says, although Jesus says in paragraph 1 that he cannot release us from fear, he is saying in this paragraph, in paragraph 2, that he also cannot let it go, because we can't be of service if all of our minds are all amiss. So in other words, he's saying, like, look, I got to come in here and advocate on behalf of y'all, because see, I had a date. I have a date, and that's why I needed to get off the call, and I forgot that I had a date. And now I'm sorry, guys. I'm getting blown up from a date. That's okay. I will deal with my date later. Actually, no, I'm going to send my date a message because I have a date.
The horse?
Yeah, I wish. Oh my God.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I got to go. Bye. I'll see you later. I'm at work now.
Okay. I need. Okay, I just fixed it. It's all done. I'm back. So what Jesus is kind of like saying is, look, we have to do this. This has to be done because we're all over the place, right? He's saying that if the mind is not fully aligned, then itself will need the miracle and needing, oh shit, I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes as opposed to the summary. So we're done with that paragraph 2. In paragraph 3, Jesus explains the role of thoughts in creation. He says that all thoughts create and that we have fearful, mistrusting thoughts about everything, including him and including God. He says we've created a fearful world based on these thoughts. This is what Frida and actually Sarah, everybody is kind of saying this and acknowledging we've created this fearful world. We see the world through the prism of fear and we believe what we perceive. Therefore, we are miscreating and we're caught up in our miscreations. He says the only real cause is God. So all these things that we are talking about, these stories that we're building with fear, are not actually real because it's like the fear is causing the fear. Like even when I get afraid, the thing that's more scary than the thing that I'm afraid of is the fear that I'm actually experiencing because I'm experiencing the fear and not experiencing the thing that I'm afraid of. It's like I got to go out for a run. I'm afraid of going out for the run, but actually the run is always fun. It's the fear that's causing the fear. So he's like, look, you got to look at what the true cause is. And he says we have to take at-one-ment and use it not as a coping mechanism, but rather as a lifestyle, a prism. And this is where I was thinking that Mindy was kind of going with that idea of seeing the world, the world of effects, as miracle. For me, that's being at one. And he's saying we have to take it at one-ment and use it not as a coping mechanism, but rather as a lifestyle, the prism through which we see all aspects of the world all the time. Respecting true cause and effect is a necessary condition for the miracle to occur. So here, Jesus is kind of turning it on its head and saying, the miracle is used to, I think what I've perceived is the miracle is used to achieve at-one-ment. But here he's saying, if you take at-one-ment as your way of living, the miracle is surely going to occur. In paragraph 3, Jesus explains the role of thoughts in creation. He says that all thoughts create and that we have fearful, oh shit, I already read that one. Sorry, guys. Paragraph 4. Jesus suggests that the mastery of fear is useless because it gives power to fear, which in fact is not real. The only thing that you can actually master is love. And in this sense, love is the way that will make you right-minded. So all this idea that I've used in my past, where it's like I have to master my fear, I have to overcome my fear, I have to abolish my fear, it's like, no, you don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is take your mind, instead of focusing on the fear, you focus on the love. So instead of is somebody piping in? Was that you, Frida? Because I heard an echo.
Yeah. I've been creating the echo. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
I think this section here, paragraph 4, speaks to what I was referring to earlier. Sometimes when I'm around certain women, like group of women get together and talking about their relationships, a lot of it that I hear is fear-based because it's the language that's used. I'm going to tell him what I think about this because how dare he, blah, blah, blah. And I'm not putting up with this and, this aggression. And I mean, I think, and that's not to say that they necessarily need to make certain decisions about their relationship with whomever they are in a relationship with. But I'm just talking about that sentiment, right? That when you let fear control your mind, there can't be love. There can't be light and darkness at the same time. And this idea of empowerment being something where you're always on the defensive and on attack mode is not serving you, and it's definitely not serving your partner or whomever you're in a relationship with, because you're seeing that person as the other. And anyhow, that just reminded me of that. Thank you.
Yeah, totally agreeing. That's one of the reasons why I was kind of really liking those lessons about the attack thoughts, because those attack thoughts are the ones that are driving my life most of the time. I mean, I hate to say it. I shouldn't say most of the time. My attack thoughts drive my life between 11 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock at night. That is my work period. It is the period where I have to produce my writing, and I have to, it's my writing. So between that period, I am constantly in this attack thought mode, and it's debilitating. So I totally, yes. So, but Frida, yes, that's exactly. I feel like you're spot on. When I'm thinking about women who are coming, and everything is about kind of like this bitch fest about what is not right, and it's fear-based. What the government does, what the government is doing, is fear-based, and it's all perpetuating stories that are self-evident. They're producing themselves. They're telling their own stories. They are their own manifestations. And for me, the solution is shadow work first at 1 second. That's the way I am. There's no way that I'm going to come to being at one without doing some kind of shadow, because I have an ego that is way too locked down to just switch into thinking positively. I mean, just even the thought of that stresses me out. It makes me go, oh my God, you've got to be kidding. That's what I have to do. I just have to think positively. Oh, I just have to think a higher thought. No, I have to do the shadow work in order to clear that away and to help me naturally arrive at 1 minute.
But Crystalline, and I know everybody wants to go, but that really actually speaks to that shadow work, speaks to paragraph 2. I cannot let you leave your mind unguarded, or you will not be able to help me. Miracle working entails a full realization of the power of thought in order to avoid miscreation. So in your shadow work, you're actually realizing that there is a power of thought. So it actually aligns to that.
Yes, 100%. Yes. And I thank you, Frida. I agree with that. And I know that shadow work is good because I feel it working in me. When I do shadow work, I feel the miracles. Every time I do shadow work, there's releasing resistance. So I know that it's a real practice, And as I said, it is so easy for me to be in my right mind in the morning time. I wake up in the morning and I am in my right mind. No problem for me to be in my right mind until I go and I have to, face the thing that I fear. And the shadow work helps me to find the love in the moment. And it has helped me find the love so that I can move forward with my work and have success. All right. We are at we were in paragraph 4. Now we're in paragraph 5. Okay. Jesus says that the way to correct the illusion is to buy into the illusion temporarily. I love that. He's like, yeah, you're in the illusion. Go live your life. But understand that it's a temporary thing, And this is also, I guess, where he's saying, buy into the illusion. Go do your work to to correct things. Take a pill if you need to take a pill. If you have a headache and you can't function, or if you're nauseous and you can't function and you need some nausea medication, take some damn nausea medication if that's what you need. Buy into the illusion. He's saying in this state of an open and willing mind, the at one can be accepted. Do what you need to do to get yourself corrected, and then you can do your shadow work so you can be at one. He suggests that time is a tool that serves love by helping the linear mind to come to reality. He explains that the idea, now this is interesting, this is just coming into me as I'm reading this. I just saw a chaotic mind that was spread in a bazillion different ways, just energy gone amok. And then what I saw was time being introduced, and then all of the chaos becoming ordered based on time. So for me, that's probably not what anything is about, but this is just the thought that's coming to me from this as being, I see us as being energy, which could go in many different directions, or that is in many different directions. We are all dimensional aspects of ourselves. I am Keisha number 26, but there's also Keisha number 27, and then there's also Keisha number 3,625,182. And all of those are in existence at the same time because it's the now. However, this Keisha right now in this 3 and 4th dimension, 3 dimensions being the physical body, 4th dimension being the 4th dimension being the collective consciousness, meaning the things that we're all buying into, gravity, law of attraction, borders, politics, Republicans, Democrats, man, woman, all that stuff is the collective consciousness. So we also order around time and we order around space. So that just made a lot of sense to me that, where am I? Sorry, guys, I'm all over the place. Buy into the illusion. He suggests that time is a tool that serves love by helping the linear mind come to reality. He explains that the idea of the sun as a symbol of sacrifice is a misinterpretation, and it's surrounding the idea of sacrifice. He suggests that the proper context should be that God so loved the world that he gave it to his only son. He gave the world to his son, not that he gave his son to the world, like he sacrificed his son. Love that as well. In paragraph 6, Jesus says that God has only one son and that we are all aspects of it. We form the sonship. He says the sonship in its oneness transcends the sum of its parts. He says, though, that we cannot be whole unless everyone is included in the sonship. He says that we can have erroneous thinking. That's our free will, but it just means that we are believing in nothingness. Okay. And then in the last paragraph here, in paragraph 7, Jesus speaks about readiness and mastery. He tells us that when we are ready, it naturally comes along with a desire to accomplish. So he's talking about readiness and mastery. When we are ready, then there is going to be a natural desire that comes into us to accomplish. That is a natural, the two go hand in hand. Readiness and mastery are not separate. When you become ready, you actually become the master. He speaks of confidence, and he reminds us that mastery of fear is a myth. You don't master fear because fear is not created by God. So since fear was created by us, the only way to really abolish fear is not to master it, but instead to return to love. Okay. So there were two questions that came up for me. The first was how soon am I going to be ready to surrender my resistance and to surrender my fear? Because I really strongly believe that all it takes is a word from me to say out loud that I am ready to surrender my fear. And I feel like that will be enough, and then everything will change. I'm not ready to do that. I'm still in this world. I'm still in my shadow, and I still have a love and a connection to the things that I create. I notice that. I'm aware of that. I own that. I'm still wedded to my way of creation, which is not always about extension, but sometimes it is. Second question I asked was, how soon will I be ready to surrender to love? And I'm getting there slowly, slowly. Jesus reminds us that time collapses with him, but ultimately it comes down to us as individuals. All right, so there you go. Anybody want to chime in before we shift? All right.
You know what,
Miss
Crystal?
Denise. Yes, ma'am.
It's actually 11:06, and my mom might need my assistance, like in the middle of me doing this. So,
Okay.
yes.
So do you want to just go ahead and fire it off, Denise, so we can get it done?
Okay, if I put you on hold, you guys be okay?
Oh yeah, if you gotta go, then you let us. No problem. We'll understand and sign
Okay.
off.
Okay, great. So
Okay.
it might just be for a moment too, but I just gotta let you know. So
Okay.
this was interesting, the meaning of the Last Judgment, and it kind of a lot of it not really a last judgment, but I had said it's more of a healing rather than a last judgment. That's what I had got from reading it. And things that I had found interesting is, well, it talks a lot about one way in which you can correct the magic, miracle, confusion is to remember that you did not create yourself. Talks about how we're egocentric. And so I went back to our current reality is not bringing the peace that we need. So it's time to kind of change our way of thinking, getting away from that fear that we keep talking about. And that also put that judgment is not, I read in here that judgment is not an attribute of God. We're kind of just putting the last judgment on him. And let's see. And then I put that we are prone to deny our self-worth and project it onto an external salvation. So it kind of feels like us calling it the Last Judgment is something that we created ourselves in fear instead of a healing rather than a last judgment. And then in this part 2, it said that you free yourself from fear quickly because you must emerge from that conflict if you are to bring peace to other minds. So to me, that was like, peace is the road to all worthy goals. So we're trying to, I think, get away from fear and make our way to peace. And like we were saying about at-one-ment is the undoing of the world of fear and returning to love. So kind of finding in our minds peace, more or less. And kind of what we were talking about, that we see ourselves sometimes, everybody is empty, lonely, broken, and they're kind of looking for something to save them. And we're trying to move away from that. But earlier we had Frida was talking about that, about, when women sometimes, and they talk about relationships, how it's fear-based. And so I think everything that we've kind of touched on today has to do with fear. And then in the section 3, it said, I underlined a lot. There's a lot of interesting things, but one that I really liked is, it said, it is a final healing rather than a handing out of punishments. So the Last Judgment, everyone always makes it sound like, oh, you're going to get it at the Last Judgment. Oh, and the crazy people that are always protesting everyone, and they have their signs, the Last Judgment's going to get you. and it's not, we've made it that way in our thinking. It's not really, it's more of a healing rather than a last judgment. But the people that base their lives on fear make it more a handing out of punishment, which I don't think it is. It's like we said before, I kept writing it down, that healing begins with self-healing. And we get that, and then I think we can make our way to understanding that the last judgment's healing rather than a judgment. And then another from the book. Okay, I had wrote down that the mind can be transformed from judgment to one of healing, and then in the book it had said the last judgment is to restore right-mindedness to you. And so I think it's going back to that fear-based thinking. And I think we need, and then on section 4, something that stood out was it said a sorting out of the false from the true. So it's kind of like I had mentioned earlier when we were doing the miracles, that changing your thoughts about the past. And sometimes we become so immersed in truth and searching that it's fear-based. But if we kind of do that, I was saying, not cleansing, purification, that maybe we can get to a place that all that is false might fade away and we're more at peace, because our vision is a choice, how we're going to look at things, and we see what we want to see. So if we can change what we want to see, you can change, it will change, but it's kind of just purification. And it kind of, everything in this, I thought touched on what we had read about earlier. And in the part 5, it had said the last judgment, has been projected onto God. So it's us, as a society, a fear-based society, saying what the last judgment is, as a judgment. And no one that lives in fear is really at peace or alive, a peaceful life. And the very last part said that this is your part in the at-one-ment. And then I went back to what I wrote down, what I believe the at-one-ment is, the undoing of the world of fear and the return to love. And so it'd be a healing rather than a judgment. And pretty much that's what I got from it, kind of changing what we think it is.
I thought that was really well presented. I don't know. I really understood what you were talking about in that, Denise. Thank you. That was really nice. You all are really, even, you all of you are just presenting very, very well, I feel like I'm learning something every time
definitely.
Like I'm coming to the sessions, and it's like you all are giving very good insights.
And
I just
I even took more notes as we were doing the other sections, because it helped me to understand things better.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah. Fantastic.
I think we really all touched on fear today, and I think
definitely. Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I just wanted to throw this out there. I know you got to go, but I just wanted to throw this out there. I have a note here that says, if I did not create myself, that means that I did not create this body, this disease, these compulsions, these fears. And I said, wait, hold on. God did not create them.
Yeah.
But then what I do is I'm like, well, who created them then? If I didn't create this disease and God did not create this disease, who did create them? And then what I went on to explore is I said, I am not the fear, disease, and compulsion. And I said, oh, I keep thinking that these things are me and that they're not. They're just projections.
Yeah.
And I realized in that moment, Denise, that I really sincerely feel like I am actually diseased sometimes. Sometimes when I get sick or when I'm in the fear, that shit seems so real. It like feels so real, you know? That's what I
think that's
realize
what we're
that I'm
taught.
opening up to.
Fear-based. I think that's kind of what we're taught, kind of like a fear-based society.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so now, you know, under current administration, so it's even making it more fear-based.
Yep. And now Europe, by the way, is getting involved. Did anybody notice that that Europe is like Frida must be unmuted. I can totally hear myself.
Yeah, I was gonna chime into something, but I'll mute myself.
Okay.
I was just going to say, has anybody noticed that Europe is now trying to put travel bans on Americans traveling through Europe? Did you notice that? Did anybody hear that?
Something about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, Europe, please don't sink to our level.
I know.
Please,
I know.
somebody needs to hold space for us. My gosh. Okay, that's all I want to say. Please, Frida, take over.
Just from what you were saying like a little minute ago about the creation, what you create, I think from chapter 1, there's a distinction between making and creating. So the creative process is one that's different from the making process. Like you even see it in the world around us, you know, where people, maybe this is a silly example, but I'm going to, you know, like mass production, like stuff that just, you know, for functional aspects is made. But then, you know, then there's art, you know, things that are created are always, there's heart in it. There's something different in it. So I think that we make certain things and we create other things. So maybe to me, that distinction of the two helps.
I agree 100%. Absolutely. Right on the head. You know, totally. When I'm afraid though, oh girl, there is nothing. You can't tell me shit. I don't care. When I am scared, I'll be scared, man. It's all up in my body, you know? No rationalizing with me. That's all right.
That's all right. I hear you on that one because this last 3 days have been super difficult for me. And it's taken me literally coming, like elevating myself. But that, you know, when you're trying to like see over something and you're trying to, I mean, I didn't even have the strength to see beyond myself. I needed to see beyond myself. And it just, I'm like, oh my God. And I just felt it. It was like, you know, like drowning in water. Like you're in the, like you're not breathing anymore and the water's coming in instead of air, it's water. And you're like, oh, you know, like I can't breathe. I know exactly what you're talking. Well, I shouldn't say I know exactly what you're talking about, but my experience, my experience has been exactly that. And that's like the only way I can, and I just feel it. And I'm like, oh shit, it's happening. Oh, you know, and it's a struggle. So
yeah, no.
And I don't know, you and I have the habit of laughing when we just cry these horrible.
But Frida, you don't know how much you know exactly what I'm talking about because the vision that I had last week was literally that I was drowning. And I'm like, oh Lord, why am I actually being shown an image of myself drowning? I had this dream about drowning. And last week I had to surrender to the drowning and let myself drown. That was part of my shadow work. So I had to sink deeply in the water and just sit there and let the water come in. I had to suffocate. It was really, really hard, but it was really good because when I was done, I felt 100% better because I had to get through. I had to stop resisting the drowning, you know? So yes, you and your vision was spot on. What you just said was spot on. All right, so does anybody else want to chime in here? Otherwise, we can go ahead and start signing off.
Did I miss the chapter 3 assignments for next week?
Let me see.
Or
You
maybe
were on the
call,
call.
weren't you?
I was, but I stepped out for a few minutes. Or maybe if you could just post them or something, or
Yeah, I will post them. Yeah, you didn't. We only had 3 presenters for the weekly chapter presentation. So we have Sarah doing section 1, Denise doing section 2, and then Andrea doing section 3. And Frida, you signed up to do the principle number 10. And you signed up to do lessons, the lesson for Friday and Sunday. But I will post this. As a matter of fact, I'll hop over there and post it right now. And I think we can go ahead and and start signing off. Okay, bye. Frida, unmute yourself. It's okay. Everybody said unmute yourself.
okay,
We don't mind.
Bye.
bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We sound like a gaggle of geese because of Frida's echo chamber. Bye, guys.
Have
See
a
you,
nice
Andrea.
day.
Bye,
Bye.
Denise.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.
Bye.